Hey everybody, Ross Quintana here with Social Magnets, and today we're talking about why timing is killing your marketing efforts. Now, I hate to be a Debbie Downer, but there's a real problem that's going on out there with marketing, and as somebody who is inside the machine, who's working on the parts and does this every day, and an analyst, I have to say that there's a lot of issues and a lot of money and a tremendous amount of effort that's put in up front into the marketing. We're talking about planning, strategy, hiring the right talent, ideating, coming up with a marketing strategy, targeting your market, segmenting it, writing great content, research, all this stuff goes into it, and then you have to execute. And you create something that you hope is going to be amazing, that you hope is going to convert mind share, and generate sales and awareness for your brand. But the problem is that if your timing is wrong, you're literally killing all those efforts. So at the very end comes timing. And timing determines whether or not all of that effort was a total waste of time or whether it wasn't. And so here's what I mean, and I'll dig in, I'll unpack this a little bit. When it comes to marketing, you have to know your history, right? You got to be a historian of any industry that you want to be an expert in. So the first thing that you have to understand is that most traditional marketing, and even current marketing today, works all on delivery. So all the planning, all the creation, all the trying to make the viral content and all this kind of stuff, and quality content, evergreen content, anchor content, whatever you want to call it. It comes down to, like, people are talking about, quality matters and cutting through the noise. Well, all of this is on the front side of marketing. It's on the front side and the preparation for content creation strategy. And up until now, companies really are built around 90% of their actions are done there. And then they hit the send button. And then once they hit the send button, it goes out. And, very little is in their control after that. And even in monitoring, they're like, well, okay, we hope that this ultimately translates down to the bottom line. We hope we get more downloads. We hope we get more sales. We hope all this and that. But the problem is, there's one piece in between the ROI of all of your efforts and all your efforts. And that one little tiny sliver that can make or break everything is timing. And here's why. I'm going to draw out a quick scenario for you. Let's say that you've created this amazing email and you're hoping that it's going to convert, and you've did your research and you know your target market, and you're going to be able to use tools to finally drill down and to get this, and you built the assets, the visual assets, and you've got the taglines right. You've gone into the conversion optimization, and you know what color the buttons should be, the words to use. All this content out there and all this advice is on those tactics of doing these things to get those conversions. But what ends up happening is you have an award-winning piece of marketing that all this time, money, and energy went into. And you send a tweet out. You put it out there and you say, hey, you know what? I've got 5,000 followers, and we've painstakingly built our audience so they're targeted. It's not a waste of time. We know exactly who we want to talk to. Those people are following us on this platform. And you send it out. And the problem is let's say you've got a buyer, and the problem is you're trying to sell her a pair of shoes. And the fact is that you happen to send out a post, and you assume that everybody who's following you gets that post. But you know what? You don't know that they're on that platform at that time. Everyone's talks. A lot of the conversations in marketing, the problem is they're happening, and they're in a way right, but in a way it's too simplified, right? Marketing is very complex. It's so complex that people and companies are only now getting introduced to how complex marketing is. Now, don't get me wrong. Anybody can come play. Anybody can open up a social media account or buy a Facebook ad or do any of this. Everybody can play the game. But they have to understand the environment that the game is being played in, because it's that environment and your timing that is going to make or break all your efforts. So here's the example. So you put all this time and energy, you created this great post, piece of content, ad, whatever it is, and it goes out there. And the problem is you're like, oh, mobile's big. Mobile, we got to be on mobile, right? These are some of the conversations happening. The problem is you know what's on a mobile? You know, I've got hundreds of apps on my mobile. And so the problem is that you're like, well, let's be mobile. Let's be mobile first, mobile optimized. Let's do all of this, right? Most people aren't even caught up to these conversations. But these conversations are the real basics. Because just because you're here, I've got hundreds of apps. Now, if you look at the science behind it, you're going to say, well, maybe I'm using about 6 or 7 of them on a regular basis, even though I got hundreds on there. Number one, you got to make sure you're one of the 6 or 7. But you know what? We're switching as consumers. Consumers are constantly switching. When the barrage of information keeps coming and coming on strong, the distractions go through the roof. The variables and ways you can get distracted go through the roof. We're in an attention-based society, but the attention is diminishing. And because people are so quick to say, hey, check this out. Hey, interruption advertising. Hey, pop-up ad. Hey, all this. Hey, 200 signs when you're driving down the street. We've become as a society so good at ignoring them, so good at filtering things out. And then even worse, we've still been trained because we're getting barraged with all of these things because everybody cares about themselves selling their product. The problem is that we've also become more selfish, and it's harder to get through to the consumer. And the consumer now is also switching between, oh, you know, I can't remember the number. I know it's over the hundreds, though, of times that people pick up their phone and look at their phone. Well, they're not just staring at their phone, waiting for your ad to show up. They're looking at their phone. They're getting distracted. Something's on another screen over there. It's on my iPad. My kid wants to talk to me. My coworker stops by. You know, as a matter of fact, there's science behind, research behind the impact of distractions, right? Like what happens when you try and multitask? How long does it take you to get back on the next when you're switching tasks? There's a loss there. There's a measurable loss for you to get back and get focused. And that's just from doing things that you're focused on. That doesn't include the things that are coming in that you're not focused on that are distracting you or trying to get your attention. An email that's showing up that's just a piece of spam that you look at. No, okay, then you get a notification on your phone. I mean, even on the unit itself, there's distraction upon distraction upon distraction. Things are popping up, notifications are flashing, your battery light is blinking, your screen's transitioning, right? You're flicking up, you're flicking down. All of this has an impact on attention. And this is why timing really matters, because you just sent out that tweet to talk to me. And I happen to first you got to hope that I'm actually holding my phone and I'm paying attention to my phone. That can change every 3 seconds. Let's say that you happen to get me on the 3 seconds I am looking at. Hey, I'm looking at Facebook, not Twitter. Okay? Oh, you sent it on more channels? It's over on Facebook? Okay, cool. Problem is I was checking out a funny meme and or seeing what was trending, or my favorite TV show has a new trailer and I just was watching that instead of watching your ad. And oh, by the way, then your ad was there. It was in the right time, on the right platform, on the right device. But then my son came over and asked me to check out the thing that he drew. And so now, 2 seconds later, your post gets buried down when 3 or 5 other posts come in on top of it because I turned or I went and I grabbed a drink of my water and then looked back at my phone and you're gone. Now, all that time, all that creativity, all that money, all that talent, all your visual graphics, all that stuff's gone. Am I going to go dig through the internet? Am I going through the history of the internet? Am I going to go research and try and find in my feed where you said something? And this is what's happening, and the reason why I bring that up, and again, not to be a Debbie Downer, but we have to understand the reality of our marketing environment if we're going to be exceptional and figure out how to make this work. So when you realize that you're competing against everything, you're competing against a fly that flew by somebody's desks that's bugging them, that they turn their head, and next thing you know, they missed you, right? You've got a second to line up with your consumer and to make that happen. And there's a million ways that that cannot happen for you. But let's go on the other side and see the marketers who hit send and are sitting there waiting for that rush of endorphins as the likes pile up and the engagement, and they're sitting there going, and I've told a client the other day, it was like he was expecting all this huge engagement. And he's like, well, why aren't we getting like 20% engagement? I'm like, first of all, nobody's getting 20% engagement unless you're a very specific type of brand with a massively engaged fan base. The reality is, for most businesses, that's not you're getting less than 1%. And the numbers across top brands are still small. And he didn't get that. He thought, oh, this is abysmal. And it's like, well, that's why. Because there's a lot more science that goes into this than there is just doing it. So you can start to see the picture of how people can sit there and spend all this time, 90% of their time, creating content, and it might be great, and it might be the best, and it might be the best ad that they ever came up with, ad campaign. But people aren't consuming it. They focused on creation and delivery, and that's 99% of their business. When in reality, the only thing that matters is consumption. The only thing that matters is that when you were trying to sell me that pair of shoes, those killer Adidas Superstars, that I happen to be looking at the right time that your ad, and then it takes a whole nother level. Because was I in the mood to buy right now? Because I'm not always in the mood to buy. I'm not always focused on that. Maybe I'm working on a project or this and that, or I'm looking to be entertained, right? So now we get into context strategy. How do you know when I want to be entertained, or when I want to do research, or when I'm in the buying mood, or when I'm in the work mode, or when I'm stressed out because of client work, or when I'm relaxed? And have I ever bought anything on a Tuesday or a Sunday at 5 p.m.? And yet people are going out there and they're sharing stuff, and the delivery methods are just like, okay, well, we're going to get it out when we think people will be paying attention. The thing is that, and this is one of the companies that I work with is Kahuna. I do some influencer marketing for them. I'm not an employee of them. I do freelance work for them. But one of the things that I love about what they do, right, is they're thinking along these lines. They're thinking along the lines of when's the right time, of personalization, getting down to that one person. Well, we know that Sally buys shoes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and she generally buys them on her iPad when she's at home. And so we're not going to send out mass general messages to her on her mobile when she's not on her mobile at that time, or on, she doesn't buy, she's never, the data is there. She's never bought shoes that weren't at least 25% off. Then sending her an ad that isn't 25% off is a loser. So this is where data-driven decisions matter. And technology is coming in, AI, artificial intelligence, deep or machine learning, all of these recognizing the patterns, taking that small data from your consumers and crunching it up, and you're not going to be able to notice all this nuance because, hello, businesses have never got to know their customers. That's different. When I used to manage for Starbucks, I would know my customers, right? It's very human and exceptional in some ways, because I would have people, hey Stan, how you going? Here's your, your venti Americano with, 2 raw sugars. And I'd have it ready for them by the time I saw them getting out of their car in their parking lot. Now, do you think that was great customer service? Yeah. Not only do I remember who they are, I remember their name, I know exactly what they want. And you know what? The menu board doesn't matter to Stan, because he always gets the venti Americano with 2 raw sugars. So frappuccinos, scones, never bought one. Probably never going to buy one. people are very habitual. You see what I'm saying? And they're personalized. So the whole way we think about marketing, when we're thinking about this broadcast marketing, and I'm going to show them everything I got and what's great about our product. Who cares? Nobody cares about what's great about your product. As a matter of fact, they only care about what they care about. And if you don't know what that is, and if you don't know what that is for each person, then you're just not good at sales. See, a good salesperson is not trying to sell, an extra large skirt to a skinny guy. It doesn't make sense. You're not trying to sell a baby pacifier to an adult because they don't need it, right? You're not trying to sell some sports, gear to someone who hates that team. If you don't know that they hate the Patriots and you're trying to sell them that Patriot hat, it doesn't matter how good your campaign is, it doesn't matter how good your graphics are, then it doesn't also even matter if you got your timing right and you nailed all that. Like, there's so many variables in this game to be successful. And up until now, businesses have never had the ability to scale this and make this work, because how could you do that? How could you do that with 10,000 customers? How could you know them all, right? Small businesses have this advantage, and they should be keen into this and taking advantage of it. Some of them do, some of them don't. Some of them are so busy trying to be a big business that they've lost touch with what makes it special, was the owner knows his customers by name, knows what they like, knows how he can deliver value to them based on what they're going to be interested in, not what they don't care about, not wasting their time. Because as time becomes more important to everybody, as there's a million distractions that can quickly shift you, your moment that matters, that moment of purchase decision, is getting to be a smaller and smaller window. You got 2 seconds, boom, go, you didn't get me. Now I'm off to something else. Now Game of Thrones is on. Now my kid's got a question. Now I got to go to the bathroom. Now I'm on my lunch break. Now my boss has a question for me. Now I got a new email. Now I got a notification. I got 50 notifications on my phone. Are you the most important one out of those during those 3 seconds? No, you're not. So your whole effort is gone based on timing, lack of personalization, not utilizing technology. So we have to dig in and utilize technology to take this to the next level. Another great example, bam, Adobe. Whoop, wrong side. When I was at Adobe Summit, they had me out there. They brought me out there actually as part of their influencer program. Some of the demos they had of the signs that are changing to help you relate and be relevant to you, right? If I'm a short guy with a beard and sexy glasses and a big brain, okay, I'm getting carried away there, but I'm still all those things, then guess what they're going to show me? They're not going to show me a picture of a little old lady, right, using the product or a product that I might like. It's going to automatically in real time customize. It's going to be a person with a beard. It's going to be someone who's like me that I can relate to, so using the product, so I can look at it and go, okay, what's this and is this interesting? And they're going to know a lot of that data about me and data about what's going on in the environment, and these things are going to be timed right. This is a big shift in marketing, and it's better that you start trying to figure this out. And there's no excuse. You don't need $1 million budgets, right? You need awareness. You need $1 million awareness to understand that this is where the market is going and this is where business is going. And therefore, if I'm a small business owner, what am I doing? I mean, I can go out there today and train all my employees. Hey, you need to be able to get to know these customers. Do we know their names when we take their order? Do we get their name? And do we remember it? Do we know who our past customers are? Does our point of sales system know who these people are so that we have them in our database? Are we doing anything on social media to get to know these people and know when they come in? Or do we even at the core level, like I said, without any technology, this can be done when a good server knows your names, right? A good salesperson knows your kids' names, right? This is old school business. So it's accessible to anybody who wants to start today. But then when you add technology and you add systems on top of that, there's simple systems like I'd mentioned earlier. Kahuna is a good example. They're not building systems that you have to have massive budgets and big deployments for. They're building accessible email, right time, real time, AI powered, personalized marketing systems that a company can afford and can start integrating. And when you go further up the scale and you look at the stuff that Adobe's doing, great example, you have an enterprise and you want all your stuff, your digital asset managers and all that from design side all the way up to execution and delivery. You want, fully integrated solutions. They're out there too. It doesn't matter where you're at on the scale. There's solutions for you. But it starts with a mindset. It starts with you thinking about, hey, I need to get personalized. I need to start knowing about my customer. What data do I already know about my customer? How do I set up my analytics program to know the key metrics that matter? What strategic metrics would matter for us to deliver value to our customers? How do we know what in our offering, let's say you have one offering, how do I know all the different ways that it's interesting? See, some people are calling up, they're shopping by price. So price is a key thing for them. And if you knew about them as a consumer and their habits, you'd know that they're price sensitive. Other people, it's the quality. That's what matters. Budget doesn't matter at all. I've gone through where I've bought things and people were selling me on features I didn't care about. They're either selling me on the price and or assuming that I'm price sensitive, and I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? I'll spend whatever it takes. Actually, for me, the quality matters. I want to buy once, I want to buy right, and I want it to be the best available product. So I don't care about your sale, and I don't care about that you're a better price than your competition. I care about the quality of it. Other people care about, hey, everybody has this product. They care about status. Or nobody has this product, and I'm going to be the first one to have it. Like, if you haven't looked at a 360-degree view of potential motivations and value points in your product, right? A lot of times, especially with small business owners, mid-sized business owners, entrepreneurs, they always take what's valuable to them, why they created it. Well, sometimes you create things and it doesn't even matter. Because look at Blab. Blab, a video communication platform. It doesn't exist anymore, or they pivoted, I don't know. But they essentially came out and they shut it down and they said, oh, well, basically it got popular. But it got popular for people were using it for different reasons than what they thought that it was going to be big for and what they designed it for. They thought it was going to sit around and people were going to watch TV together or do something. And instead, it allowed people to come in and invite the crowd into the conversation and do all these different things. They didn't pay attention to why people wanted it, and they actually shut it down to pursue what they wanted. It's a perfect and yet horrible example of not paying attention, not listening, of the founders just being focused on what they want to do and deliver, not understanding that you're not building things for yourself. You're building them for your customer. And it's what matters to your customer that matters. That's all that matters. Because they hold the revenue. See, they had gotten an audience on, by building this platform. They didn't get an audience for people sitting around watching TV together. Right? And so they had no success in that field. They had success over here, and they didn't want it. And so then they counted their project as a success, that they needed to do more of this other thing, and that isn't what was bringing it success. So you got to understand all these things, and it's all in the data. So you need to be setting up your analytics program, understanding the data, the right data, smart data, small data. As I said, Hakuna Matata. These are all important things, but you can start no matter where. So start, raise your awareness, start learning about personalization, data-driven content, and how that affects customer experience. You hear a lot about customer experience. All this folds back into that, and understand that marketing is getting, in many ways, more complex. You've got to step up your game because the environment has changed. I hope you enjoyed this. Slam the like button, subscribe, This is also going to be embedded in my blog post, which is going to go out today on Medium. I write on many different platforms for different companies, and I have my own brands and projects, so I'm sure you'll find a sliver that you like. I write on tech and marketing and AI, but I also write on success and hustle culture and technology, all these different things, sales, real estate, customer experience. So I appreciate all you guys' support. Love to hear your thoughts and your comments, what you think about how important timing is. If you had any aha moments, share them with me. I love to connect. If we're not connected, reach out and I'll connect with you, and I will talk with you later. Thanks for all your support.